Hey guys, before the start of this video, I want to say shout out to Sean at the Chop Chop House restaurant down by Florida Avenue. If you guys want to go check it out, I was able to take a picture of Sean right over here. It was awesome meeting him. He asked me to come in. I did. They have amazing food. If you guys are in Tampa and you're looking for a really nice, cheap place to go eat with maybe a friend or two, definitely go there. It's in Seminole Heights. It's awesome. They have good food. Say hi to Sean if you're there. Fellow Bucs fan, fellow follower of the channel. He's been here for a couple of years now, I feel like, and he's an awesome guy. Sean, thank you for suggesting that place to me, especially since you work there. You guys make some amazing food, and it was a great time. So, without further ado, on to this very anger-filled video. Hey guys, what's going on? James here, and in today's video, I'm going to be giving my official reaction to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 28-14 loss versus the New Orleans Saints. And you know, things were going so well. Things were going so well the past two games, and even the first half of this game, things were going fine, right? The Buccaneers were starting to get back into the swing of things. They were starting to look really, really good. And then the second half of this game happened, and everything just went horribly wrong, and we looked like the old terrible Bucs yet again. I'm going to give you guys some stats from this game, and just bear with me, it's not overall statistics, it's just looking at the drives that had happened in this game. So everybody bear with me, okay? The first thing I'm going to be talking about is the Bucs defense, because through the first 2.5 quarters of this game, the New Orleans Saints had 6 drives, and those drives resulted in the following: 3 punts, 2 Drew Brees turnovers, and 1 field goal. That's pretty darn good for 2.5 quarters of play against the New Orleans Saints, the 10-2 potential Super Bowl contending team. That's good. That's really, really good, right? The Saints would only have 4 more drives in this game. In a quarter and a half, they would only have 4 more drives. 6 out of 10 drives, the Buccaneers defense just absolutely destroyed them, right? Made them look silly. And then in the final 4 drives, the Saints did this: 3 touchdowns, 1 field goal, 0 turnovers, 0 punts. You know, it's good, right? They had 6 good drives, but they couldn't finish the game. And I get it, they were probably exhausted. They were probably absolutely exhausted by the last quarter and a half of this game. I don't necessarily blame them that much. And like I said, even in my video, in the preview, like I said, you can't stop Drew Brees, you can't stop Alvin Kamara, you can't stop Michael Thomas, you can only limit what they do. But geez, in the first 2.5 quarters, the Buccaneers defense was doing a real good job of it, and things just fell apart at the end like they have before in the past. Not so much this season, but geez, I'm just so sick of watching games like this happen, and this is another example like that. The Buccaneers defense fell apart in the last quarter and a half, and it was not fun to watch at all. Now, let's take a little bit of a look at the Buccaneers' offensive drives during this game. So, taking a look at the first half first, the Buccaneers had 2 touchdowns, 1 missed field goal, and 2 punts. Not great, not even good necessarily in a way, but not too terrible either. You know, they still put up 14 points, and just going off of what I said in the defensive statistics, the score at this point was 14-3. Alright, sweet. We still have the entire second half. The offense doesn't look great, but it doesn't look horrible either. They're looking pretty middle of the pack right now. Let's see if they can hold on in the second half. It is 14-3. The Buccaneers had 6 drives in the second half, and they resulted in the following: 1 missed field goal, 1 blocked punt, 3 regular punts, and 1 interception. No wonder the defense was dead tired towards the end of the game. The offense didn't do anything to help. They didn't score. They scored 0 points. They scored 0 points in the second half. You obviously can't do that against the New Orleans Saints and expect to win games. You can't score 0 points in the second half and expect to win ball games. That's not how this works unless you're shutting them out in the first half and it's like 30-0, then maybe you can get away with that. But it was a score of 14-3. The Bucs only had an 11-point lead, and what we know by the Bucs at this point in their entire history as a franchise, they can't hold on to 11-point leads very well, and that was another case here. The Buccaneers defense fell apart towards the end, but by God, the Buccaneers offense did not do them any favors in the second half. And trust me, we're going to be getting into those missed field goals. Don't you worry. Buccaneers had 10 penalties on the day. Now, the rest of the team had 4 penalties in of themselves, but there were 3 players in particular that had 2 penalties each in this game to combine for 6 penalties. 3 players resulted in more than half of the Buccaneers' penalties in this game as a team. And those 3 players are on the offensive line, which had a horrible job this game. Jameis Winston was sacked 4 times, and it was under no help of Donovan Smith, Ryan Jensen, and DeMar Dotson. Those 3 guys did not have a very good game at all. Neither did Caleb Benenoch, but at least we all know that Caleb Benenoch is bad. Donovan Smith, Ryan Jensen, DeMar Dotson, they all dropped the absolute hell out of the ball. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. Donovan Smith, a false start penalty, a holding penalty, and another holding penalty that got declined. So that resulted in 2 penalties that actually counted. That's 15 yards given up by Donovan Smith by himself. Ryan Jensen had a holding penalty and had an unnecessary roughness penalty, giving up 25 yards on his own. Now, I know a lot of people say, well, you know, the unnecessary roughness penalties, you know, they're good here and there, but not in crucial moments of the game. You just, please, don't do that, Ryan Jensen. Please, I beg of you. And then looking at Donovan Smith, a false start and a holding, much like DeMar Dotson, much like Donovan Smith, a false start and a holding, giving up 15 yards of his own accord. These 3 guys did not have a good game, and that's not even including Caleb Benenoch, who is literally the worst. He might be the worst offensive lineman in the league, the worst starting offensive lineman in the league. I am pretty sure that that is an accurate statement. I'm not joking. If you guys can find a starting caliber NFL a starting NFL offensive lineman right now in this league that is worse than Caleb Benenoch, please tell me about it so I can feel a little bit better about this guy being a starting right guard on our team. Jameis Winston was sacked 4 times. That's not good. That's not good under any circumstances. The Buccaneers only got 1 sack of their own, but they were still able to get an interception off of Drew Brees, and they were still able to get a fumble off of Drew Brees as well. Carl Nassib and Jason Pierre-Paul, they played really good games. Not so much in the passing game, but especially in the running game. They were getting stops left, right, and center. Jason Pierre-Paul, Carl Nassib, I want them to be 2 future defensive ends for our team. Maybe for the next 2 to 3 years, I would be totally fine with that. I think a lot of you would be fine with that as well. But geez, this offensive line did not help anything. They didn't help anything. Penalties. They had penalties. They gave up sacks. They gave up bad stuffs against the running game. This offensive line could not do anything against this New Orleans Saints defensive line throughout the entirety of the game. It was the worst thing ever. But hey, at least the Buccaneers offense was able to get into the red zone a couple of times. They scored a couple of touchdowns, and hey, they even got into field goal range, right? Cairo Santos, he's going to break that kicker's curse, right? That's what we all thought. Nope. Cairo Santos is a downright demon. He is part of the curse as well. When is this going to end? Cairo Santos had a missed 40-yard field goal and a missed 46-yard field goal, both ranges that he is pretty darn well in. I even told you guys, whenever he was first signed, Cairo Santos, he usually doesn't miss in the 40s. He just usually doesn't miss in the 40s. Put him past 50 or 50 or above, he's not very good, but usually 45 below, he's pretty much money in. I guess not in this game, and I get it, the turf, it had rained this day, it was kind of windy out there in Tampa, that probably didn't help anything. But geez, the New Orleans Saints kicker made all of his kicks. Will Lutz, he made both of his field goals and he made all of his extra points. Why couldn't Cairo Santos? What is wrong with the Buccaneers kicking situation? Why can't the Buccaneers have a single good kicker since Matt Bryant has left this team? 4 kickers in 2 years. 4. Nick Folk, Roberto Aguayo last year. Cairo Santos and Chandler Catanzaro this year. The Buccaneers cannot freaking find a kicker. Sign back Patrick Murray. Sign Connor Barth. Trade for Matt Bryant. Do something, anything to fix this kicking situation. This is getting absolutely ridiculous. All things considered, I know Jameis Winston, he had an interception and he had a lot of overthrown passes and whatnot, but he was scared out there. He was absolutely scared out there. Corey Draper, the play reaction, said on Twitter he was talking about a situation where maybe this isn't so much as Jameis, maybe this isn't so much as Jameis being safe with the ball and actually thinking through things and throwing it away. Maybe he's scared. And I absolutely think that that is a possibility with this offensive line in place right now. It's just horrific. It's just absolutely horrific. Donovan Smith's on a contract year. Okay, he's on a contract year. He's supposed to be getting paid by somebody, and he can't have games like this. He's had a couple of really bad games in these past handful of games, and he's not doing himself any favors in terms of getting a new contract. No wonder he hasn't gotten a new contract yet. There was speculation that he was going to get a deal right after Ali Marpet because those were the two really big key cornerstone pieces on our offensive line. Well, now it makes sense that they didn't give Donovan Smith the contract right after they gave Ali Marpet his contract. We don't even know if he deserves that kind of money right now. Right now, he is a inconsistent, average tackle at best. I'm sure Donovan Smith's a wonderful person in real life. I have no doubts about that in my mind, and I usually don't like being negative about players, but geez, you can't have mind-numbing penalties like that and constantly giving up pressure. He's not as bad as Caleb Benenoch, don't get me wrong, but in this game, I think he was the second worst offensive lineman that the Bucs had in this game, and it's been that way for the past couple of games. Correct me if I am wrong. Jensen, he does some things well, and to be honest, he's probably covering for most of Caleb Benenoch's blown assignments, but still, he can't be giving up these boneheaded penalties. He said himself that they were stupid, selfish penalties. He got into a little bit of a tussle, a little bit of an argument with Jameis Winston on the sidelines, and that's fine, that's whatever. You know, they're getting out their frustrations. I don't think it's going to be any type of a locker room division there. Ryan Jensen is pretty much what a lot of you guys said in the live stream, the bodyguard for Jameis Winston. They're pretty much tethered together here, especially considering we're paying Ryan Jensen $10 million a year. He's the highest paid center in the league. So I really want to see these penalties cut down. I like Ryan Jensen. I think that Ryan Jensen can be a really good center. I think Donovan Smith can be a really good left tackle. They just need to stop being inconsistent, and they need to stop with the boneheaded penalties, because that's what loses this team games, is a lack of discipline. Dodson, I get it. He had a couple of bad penalties. He's had a couple of rough games. I like DeMar Dodson. He's one of the longest tenured current Buccaneers on this team. He's right up there with Gerald McCoy. He's actually been on the team longer than Levante David. I want him to finish his career in Tampa Bay. I like him that much. But man, his age is starting to show. He might retire at the end of this season. I'm not too sure. Mixing in Caleb Benenoch as well. You have 4 question marks on, well, 3. I'm going to say 3 question marks for sure on this offensive line, and that is left tackle, right guard, and right tackle. We don't know what DeMar Dodson's going to do. Is he going to retire? Is he going to get re-signed? We have no idea. We don't know how much Donovan Smith is worth right now. It's starting to look like he's worth an average at best left tackle contract, and Caleb Benenoch's just absolutely awful. Can Dirk Cutter please start playing Alex Kappa or Evan Smith or somebody? Sign a new right guard, because to be honest, somebody off the street, a free agent, is probably going to be leagues better than Caleb Benenoch at this point. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. The problems are very apparently there, and nothing's being done to fix it. Not by the coaching staff, not by the general manager. Nothing. Nothing's being done. What the heck is going on with this offensive line? It needs to be fixed. Jameis Winston played a fine game. Peyton Barber could have done better. Ronald Jones doesn't play anymore because I assume that Dirk Cutter just doesn't like Ronald Jones. That's what I'm assuming. I assume that Dirk Cutter didn't like the Ronald Jones pick, and he just doesn't want to play the second-round draft pick that Jason Light made. That's what I'm assuming. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I think that Dirk Cutter favors his own, like, kind of special guys that he has, like Peyton Barber and Jaquiz Rogers, over Ronald Jones, and that's fine. Peyton Barber, Jaquiz Rogers, they're good running backs. I like them. I think that they're pretty decent guys, and they're pretty decent running backs. But come on, play your second round pick. Let us see what we have in Ronald Jones. We have no idea what we have in Ronald Jones right now. He has not been given an opportunity. He was inactive for multiple games to start the year. Yes, he did have his share of injuries, but now he's back and you're still not playing him. What's the point? You're not playing your third or fourth round right guard in Alex Kappa over the obviously struggling Caleb Benenoch. That's another flag for you, Dirk Cutter. Come on, dude. You're supposed to be this offensive guru. You're supposed to be playing the guys that Jason Light drafts. Instead, you're not. I don't know why you're doing that. But geez, it's not being great right now. The run game has been overall ineffective to a certain degree, and it continued in this game. The run game did not look very good. Jameis had a fine game, all things considered. A little bit of a lack of targets towards Mike Evans, but it is what it is. Adam Humphries, Cameron Brate, they had a fine game. They're pretty reliable guys up to this point. Chris Godwin had a very rough game as well. 10 targets, only 1 catch. Come on, but, you know, it was in a lot of high traffic situations, a lot of overthrow on deep balls where Chris Godwin was overcovered. That's forgivable, but this offensive line was not forgivable. Ryan Jensen, Donovan Smith, DeMar Dotson had insanely rough games. Donovan Smith's a huge question mark at this point. DeMar Dotson, I feel a little bit better about considering I know what you can get the best out of DeMar Dotson, and he's at least... At worst, he's fine. He's fine, okay? DeMar Dotson is fine at worst, okay? And at best, he's one of the best tackles in the league. We know this. And Ryan Jensen, we paid him $10 million. He's not going anywhere. He's just not going anywhere at all. Caleb Benenoch shouldn't be a starting right guard right now. Alex Kappa should be in that slot, but he's not. Thank you, Dirk Cutter. And Ali Marpet is at left guard. He's the best thing we have going. He's consistently amazing, and I feel bad that he has to be part of an offensive line that so far is looking like one of the worst units in the league. That's not good. Moving on to the defensive side of the ball, they did phenomenal in the first 2.5 quarters, and by the last quarter and a half, they were gassed. They were absolutely tired. I don't blame them at all for what happened in the last quarter and a half. When the Buccaneers offense in the second half has a missed field goal, 3 punts, 1 blocked punt, and 1 interception, yeah, no wonder the Saints are going to score 3 touchdowns and 1 field goal. The offense didn't do a whole heck of a lot to help them at all, but Jameis Winston couldn't do a whole lot because the offensive line is garbage. And Cairo Santos, man, oh my gosh, Cairo Santos. I like Cairo Santos. I was excited when we signed him. I still think he can be a fine kicker. Maybe it was the turf, maybe it was the weather conditions, whatever you want to call it, but I fully expect the Buccaneers to bring some kickers in tomorrow, and they might even release Cairo Santos. I don't really think that's going to happen, but I guess we're going to have to wait and see. Man, this was an entirely frustrating game on all 3 levels. This team struggled at some point. The defense, yes, they played the well out of all 3 units. They had 2.5 quarters where they looked really good, but that last quarter and a half, they couldn't help carry the team like they did in the past 2 games. It was rough. The offense, they had an okay to average first half, and they had a god-awful second half, which was marred by a terrible showing by the special teams unit as well. They looked absolutely awful in this game. The special teams unit was bad. They failed in almost all 3 aspects in the game yet again, and this was a very winnable game. They were winning 14-3 at halftime, and they blew it. They just absolutely blew it. One of the signs of the past 3 coaches the Buccaneers have had in Lovie Smith, Greg Schiano, and now Dirk Cutter, they have a tendency to absolutely blow games, and this is just another example of that. What do I think is going to happen to Dirk Cutter at the end of the season? I still have no idea. We still have 4 games left to be played in the season, but man, games like this really don't help his case. But that's it, guys. I know I was very ranty in this video. This is probably going to be the only type of video you get from me in this format. So enjoy it. Enjoy it while you can. I was mad. I am mad. That was an ugly loss, and it's annoying. It is what it is. It is what it is. I'll feel better tomorrow. I'm sure you guys will feel better tomorrow. But voice your frustrations down in the comment section below. I want to hear about it. Let me know what you guys think about all this down in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. I should have some more videos about some certain talking topics coming out in the later days, now that I'm feeling better from my illness and whatnot. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you all enjoyed. And as always, guys, goodbye for now. And go Bucs.